Greetings and welcome to The Scene here on 88.1 The Park. It is 6 p.m. on a Thursday. My name is Nick Brandon. I'm the director of the In the Band Music Appreciation Studio, joining you again here for our monthly look at the best in local music, or specifically Plymouth Canton Educational Park music. It is March the 2nd today, but this actually counts as our February show. The forces at work which form the calendar each year give February just a few less days than the other months, as you all know. And so this technically is our February show, but welcome to March here on 88.1 The Park. Things are great at the In the Band Music Appreciation Studio. We've got actually a couple shows coming up that I want to make sure everybody knows about. Tomorrow night, in fact, we will be co-producing a local music show featuring some artists that are participating in the sort of Create an Album in a Month contest, which runs through the month of February, and we have 3 artists joining the night that all participated in that. But connecting to our show and our little scene here, me and the dog will be opening the show. So that's Keegan Weaver, of course, performing solo. That will be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the Plymouth Arts and Recreation Complex. So get there early. Make sure you get there at 7 p.m. to check out Keegan's solo set. And then we are in the process of finalizing the bill for the In the Band Showcase event, which will be on April 14th, again at Plymouth Arts and Recreation Complex. A variety of artists will be playing that evening that we'll talk about here in a minute. Tonight's show should be an exciting one. We've got 2 artists in the house tonight. 2 very distinct artists, but 2 that are going to bring their talents to the airwaves tonight. We've got Joe Jankowski, a percussionist of the band Cup and many other projects, one of which is joining our other guest tonight, Abby Sexton, a senior at Salem High School, who is a singer-songwriter who I have had the pleasure of getting to know in the last few months, working on her capstone project here at the park. So we've got Joe and Abby here tonight. They're going to play some songs in studio. They've even got a very cool cover in store, which we're very excited about hearing. So cannot wait to have a good chat with Joe and Abby and hear some other local music tonight. The Scene Rewind is The Articles. We're going to dig that 90s ska sound, Bill Keith, as you know, which, I haven't heard a ska band for a while, so tonight will be a nice little throwback as The Scene Rewind tries to be. So it's going to be a fun night. Thanks for tuning in with us. We're going to get started with 2 bands that are both going to be part of the In the Band Showcase in April, which we'll talk much more about here on The Scene in future shows, and also one of the bands that features Joe Jankowski, who is our guest tonight. We're going to start with the song Change by our good friends George, Wes, and Keegan from Junior High Cheer Squad. That'll be followed by Cup with Fresh Time here on The Scene. Let's get right into it. Here is Junior High Cheer Squad with Change.
In the past, trying to make things that are gone now last. Well, the weather's the same, and the feelings have changed, and I'm taking the blame. Taking the blame. Waking up just
broken heart has taught me anything, it's that change is good.
If this broken heart has taught me anything, it's that the change is good. Oh, where are you now? You're in the same place as before. And I've changed, and change is good.
The Park. 'Cause you totally spray painted the rock. A day after somebody else spray painted the rock. This is your station, the new 88.1, The Park.
Can't see in the dark, can't see past the mirror. A reflection of myself haunts me in the shadows. I look through the glass into what I call a home. And I see distant memories fading away so slow. Everything comes so slow. Nothing ever seems past. All I wanna leave behind is my distant past. Every corner holds another fear about what is coming next. Will this ever stop? Will I ever
Cup with Fresh Time here on The Scene on 88.1 The Park. That was preceded by Change from Junior High Cheer Squad. I got to say, I love that recording. I think it sounds fantastic. George, Wes, and Keegan, if you guys are listening, I'm ready for an album. All right, we've got the little teaser here with the single Change, which sounds phenomenal. Let's get the album, boys. And I know that the In the Band Music Appreciation Studio might be the place where they do a little recording. So, but right now, let's turn our attention to Abby Sexton and Joe Jankowski. Joe Jankowski looking dapper this evening. He just got here in typical musician fashion. He's here just in time for the show.
I can't breathe. I ran.
Joe, did you just run here from Plymouth High School?
Yes.
Nice.
I know.
All right.
So if I'm drumming and all you can hear is heavy breathing, that's where I'm at.
We'll
Oh
just
my gosh.
count that as part of the
Yeah.
percussive.
Part of
Get
the
it in
artistic process. Yeah.
sync.
Exactly.
Oh my
Joe,
gosh.
I know you were coming here from a marching band event, right?
I was coming here from the top 3 concert bands or ensembles at the park. Went to festival at Redford High School, and if I don't die, And so we all performed music for adjudicators,
Cool.
if you will.
And you got your tux going on?
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, no one can see me, so it's not like it matters. But
I like it. It's a good look.
thanks.
So welcome, you guys. It's so good to have you here tonight. I know that this has been long overdue to get Joe in the studio, and Abby and I have had a chance to get to know each other here in the last few months. So let's just start off talking to both of you. Abby, we'll start with you, but tell us about, your experience with music. How did you start writing songs, and when did you become passionate about the art of songwriting?
Well, I actually started taking guitar lessons in about the 3rd grade, and I was not very good until about the 5th grade. That's when I started getting more serious, and that's when I actually discovered that I like to sing. But I didn't sing for anyone until about the 7th grade in middle school choir, and that's kind of where my music career took off, is like performing solos and stuff there. And the choir director, Janine Grady, inspired me to like accompany some of the stuff, and it was a really cool experience, and that's kind of where I developed my love for performing. And then freshman year of high school, I started thinking like, hey, I kind of want to try writing some stuff. And of course, in the beginning, it was rough, but I think it's developed a lot since I began.
Songwriting is like anything else. You got to take your first step.
Oh, yeah,
It took us
definitely.
all a while to learn how to walk, right? So it's very cool to hear that Janine Grady was an influence on you. And
Oh,
was
such a big
inspiring.
influence.
Yeah, it's never old as an educator to hear that your experience in choir was meaningful. When you weren't able to sing for people until that time, was it that you just didn't have confidence in your voice? I mean, people are about to hear that you have a tremendous singing voice, or did you just kind of have to practice more and get more comfortable?
Yeah, I was definitely a nervous wreck every time I performed back then. I've gotten better now. But yeah, I'd never sang for anyone, and so I didn't know like if what I thought sounded good was actually good, and I guess I was kind of nervous to try it, but I got some positive feedback as time went along.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I mean, it really is. It's always good to hear that your experiences at school have influenced you as an artist. Joe, speaking of which, as the man who's involved in like more, when I think about Joe Jankowski and the scene, you're like this guy that is connected to so many different artists and bands and stuff. And
I'm really bad at saying no.
but your forte is the percussionist. I mean, that is really what you do.
That's a stretch.
I wouldn't even call you, but I wouldn't even call you a drummer, in all honesty, because I feel like you come at this from a background that involves jazz. There's marching band elements, and
geez.
certainly you can do other things. So tell us about your background. When did you pick up
if you ask
drumsticks?
the other kids in the wind ensemble, they'll say I'm more of a drummer than a percussionist. I did marching band and winter drumline my freshman year, and it was all right. And I ended up quitting, but I definitely got like all my like chops and things from that. So that definitely helped me a lot. But I actually played trumpet for 6th and 7th grade, but I switched. I'm not very good at it. I can play it if you want me to. I switched to percussion in 8th grade. I had Miss Tharp, and she was a drummer, so that was really, really cool. And then when I got to the park, Mr. Thoman, the band director, they all helped me expand on it, so I'm not just like a garage drummer, even though I'm totally still a garage drummer. But I definitely picked up some things in marching band and winter drumline that helped me a lot.
No doubt. I mean, what I've noticed is that you've got good technique. You're able to show your chops, but you also can rock out. I mean, there's an element of you can keep it simple and have a great groove, but you can also do a variety of things that are more complex.
I get to the point in the rock out where the technique goes away, but that's okay.
When was your first drum set? When was it? When did you?
I
when
got
was
my
your
first drum
kit?
set, I think, freshman year or 8th grade, I think.
Okay.
And it was a Gammon drum set, and I actually just sold it, but I stripped the wrap around it, and I restained it with my dad, myself, and him. So that was really cool, but that's gone now. So
Cool.
that was what got me started. Because originally, I was in middle school band, and I thought snare drum sounded really cool, so I was just going to buy one. And when my dad suggested I buy a drum set, I was like, well, that's really stupid, and like rocker, like that's not me. But here I am. I'm not a rocker. Never mind. I can't breathe.
You've taken a long run from Plymouth High School. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a chance to get to your weapon of choice tonight, which is your drum back here. And then we're going to have a performance from you guys. So as Joe is getting set up and catching his breath and learning what it's like to be a musician and run to a gig, Abby is going to perform. Actually, it's the first song I ever heard you perform, which is an original called All In. Tell us a little bit about this song.
I actually wrote the song in about a day because I had to perform one of my songs for the Arts Academy benefit concert, and I wanted to write something new and exciting. It was the beginning of the year, and so I threw it together, and it actually turned out being one of my most popular songs. So
Yeah, no doubt about it, and everyone will find out why. And you know, the best songs are written in a day. You know, this is true. A lot of hit songs out there, some of the most famous songs in the history of music were written in like an hour. So it's good to be spontaneous and do things quickly. So we're going to throw it to Abby and Joe right now. It'll be Joe Jankowski on percussion and Abby Sexton on guitar and vocals. Here is All In. Take it away, guys.
ready? Is this all in my head? Is this just my mind playing tricks on me again? Is this alright? Is this all wrong? Please stop me now. If I've let my feelings grow too strong, 'cause I'm headed full speed down the track, and right now there's no looking back. I'm all in. Are you all in? So am I crazy for thinking that maybe we could be something along the lines of a masterpiece? Would that be alright? Would that be all wrong? Please stop me now. If I've let my feelings grow too strong, 'cause I'm headed full speed down the track, and right now there's no looking back. I'm all in. Are you all in? Maybe we'll come crashing down. Maybe we'll just fall right through the ground. Maybe we'll make it. Say that we'll make it. 'Cause I'm headed full speed down the track, and right now there's no looking back. I'm all in. Are you all in? Headed full speed down the track, and right now there's no looking back. I'm all in. Are you all in?
All In from Abby and Joe. That was absolutely fabulous, you guys.
Well,
Thank you. How did this like partnership come together? I'm very interested in how the singer-songwriter with this tremendous voice found Mr. Percussion Drummer. How did this come about?
Well, actually, I just wanted to be Joe's friend, so I befriended Joe through
Everyone
some
wants-
mutual friends.
who doesn't wanna be
Joe's
Joe's friend? Yeah.
friend?
I know a lot of people.
And so yeah, we became homies. And then one day I was working on some covers, and I was like, Joe, like, will you come over and play with me, like on the cajon, like just work on some stuff? And he came over, and like we were like, wow, this is awesome. So from there we've developed so much. Now he's playing on my album and all my songs, and we're just making music.
And we'll talk more about the album. I know that as part of your capstone project that you're doing in school, the album is part of that, and I'm honored to have this very small role in that, and we'll talk more about that. Joe, I know that you guys have had a chance to use In the Band to kind of
yeah.
develop this project, and after hearing you perform, it's like, wow, what a proud moment for the studio, because if we've played a tiny role in what you guys were just able to do, that's awesome. Tell us about using the studio, and has it been helpful for you guys?
That studio is the best thing that's ever happened in Plymouth Canton. Have you like explained what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our listeners are definitely dialed in on it, but you could still explain it.
I mean, it's totally cool, and there's a music studio in PARC, which is formerly Central Middle School, and there's amazing equipment there, and it's an awesome rehearsal space, and your parents don't try to kick you out of the basement because you're too loud. You can be loud as you want, and it's just like the coolest thing that I've ever like seen or had experience with, especially around here. And so I definitely like a lot of my groups rehearse there, and then a lot of my upcoming groups are gonna hopefully rehearse there. And that place is just phenomenal. 2 like amazing drum sets, and then the John Bonham replica. That's so cool.
Yes, sir. I tell you, I will be honest with you. The coolest thing is hearing what you guys just did, because that makes it all worth it. That proves that the studio is helping young musicians to grow and find their voice, and that's what it's all about. So, speaking of finding your voice, we're about to hear a cover,
Yeah.
And what are we playing?
it's
Billie
a.
Jean.
Okay.
It's not only a cover, it's, one of the most famous and popular songs of all time. And when you first mentioned that you guys are going to be doing a cover, this is not one of the first 1,000 songs that would have popped into my head in terms of what you were going to do. But then when you said it, I was like, wow, I cannot wait to hear that. So I'm not even going to introduce it because the song's so famous that everyone's going to know it. But let's hear Mystery cover. So again, we'll go back to Abby and Joe Jankowski on percussion, Abby Sexton on vocals and guitar. And here is Cover Song. Take it away, Abby.
She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, oh mine, but what do you mean? I am the one who will dance on the floor in the round. She told me her name was Billie Jean as she caused a scene, and every head turned with eyes that dreamed of being the one who will dance on the floor in the round. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking a young girl's heart. And Mama always told me, be careful who you love. Be careful what you do before the lie becomes the truth. And Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just the
mystery cover song, of course, Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. What a cool rendition of that. A little swing to it. I like it. Very nice.
Thank you.
Almost a perfect bridge to our influences segment, because who hasn't been influenced by Michael Jackson? I mean, come on. Like, anyone who's ever picked up a musical instrument or sang a note, I think, can cite that as influences. But what we always do is give our artists a chance to choose a song that best represents their influences. But I guess before we get into those specific songs, Joe, what artists have influenced you the most? If you just had to come up with a list of, a few,
Oh, geez.
what has shaped you the most?
Well, I mean, obviously, like there are tons of famous artists that have definitely influenced me, like Benny Greb, he's a drummer, or the band Snarky Puppy, or people like that. Obviously, I love Chad Smith, drummer for Red Hot Chili Peppers. But like the most people that inspire me are actually people that like aren't famous yet. So people that I know from around here. So obviously Abby, I've had like a musical crush on Abby since I first saw her. My good friend Amy, who graduated last year, Amy Craven, she goes to U of M right now. She was a percussionist, and she like inspired me to perform, period. And then just people I see around, people like Hayden Kuzmano or Savannah Rybert, local people definitely inspire me.
We're going to hear from Hayden later in the show. I love that response, because that's the beauty of being in a scene, is that you bounce ideas off each other, you influence each other, and you inspire each other, right? And isn't that the best part of being a musician, is having community, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
For sure.
And there's definitely a good community around here.
No doubt about it. No
Sometimes.
doubt. Abby, how about for you? What artists would you say come to mind most when you talk about what influenced you growing up?
Oh, Joe definitely hit home there with the local artists. But growing up, I just listened to so many different artists, and I think that's kind of what created my sound, is that I wasn't focused on one genre. I jumped all over the place, and I kind of found my own genre, and within that, I guess I don't really know how to classify myself. And now I find myself listening to more indie, folk, I don't know, pop music. Like Joseph is my favorite band of all time. They're three sisters. Their harmonies are incredible. But as Joe is saying, like, nothing inspires me more than the musicians I've had the pleasure to play with. If you asked me 2 years ago if I would ever play with a full band, like, weekly, I would say, what, who? Like, yeah. And here I am, like, playing music with my best friends all the time, and they're all so incredibly talented. And it just makes me want to make more music and be better.
Yep, that's awesome. That's fantastic. So, Joe, your original choice was actually a hip-hop song, which speaks to what you said earlier about having this diverse range of...
Chance the Rapper's
Chance
awesome.
the Rapper, but...
There's a lot of bad words in it, so never mind.
So we went with the song Young by Daughter. So tell us how that choice came about to you.
Well, you said no about Sunday Candy. Oh, God, a good song. And then I went through my music and I found like the first song that really stuck out, and it just, oh God, it's such a good song. It like deserves to be heard. Daughter is like the coolest. Now to be honest, there's little to no drums in it. Pretty much no drum. There is. And it's very simplistic, and it's like it's perfect. Like any more than what the drummer did, it would have been too much. Yeah. But I kind of just picked it because I wanted everyone to hear it.
And that's a great use of the influences song. But you touch on something that's important, which is that in music, you can't underestimate the subtle. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes everyone tries to be over the top and bombastic. Certainly, as drummers, we could both relate.
Oh, I totally am guilty of that. So like, I'm not saying like I am like as good as this daughter drummer, because I'm not. I don't have that self control. I'm like messing up here because I'm trying to do too many things. So that's my downside as a percussionist, and I'm working on that.
I do need to inform the audience that the tambourine they're hearing, you're playing with your foot.
Oh, yes.
That doesn't always work out.
That's my favorite part.
I totally agree. It was like, that is awesome.
That's just like totally just, that's
and
my
that's what
part.
I mean, percussionist. Only a percussionist would think about playing the foot tambourine.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Cameron, who's the center snare for the drum line. She gave me that idea.
Nice.
Her and Natalie Rogers are phenomenal.
Way to go, Cameron. Way to go, Natalie, for sure.
I mean, Janky. I said Rogers. Well, I was thinking of something else.
So
Janky.
And then Abby, Matt Nathanson, Giants was your choice. Tell us about
Yes.
what that song's meant to you.
Matt Nathanson is one of my favorite artists. I just discovered him a couple years ago, and as a lyricist, like the way he portrays everything is so awesome. And this song's been kind of relevant to me lately, because it's just about like being yourself and not really caring and kind of finding your true meaning. And I really like it. It's a little more poppy than I'm used to, but I really love the words. It makes me happy. It makes me want to dance.
Hey, Poppy can be good too. So we're going to the influences segment now here on the scene on 88.1 The Park. We'll start with Matt Nathanson, Giants, Abby Sexton's influences song, and then we'll hear Young by Daughter, which is Joe Jankowski's song, here on the scene. The Influences segment here on The Scene on 88.1 The Park. We heard from Matt Nathanson with Giants, and then we heard from Daughter with Young. Two very, very good choices from our in-studio guests, Joe Jankowski and Abby Sexton. But we're going to shift now to The Scene Rewind, always a favorite segment of mine. We're going to bring Bill Keith, station director for 88.1 The Park, here into the conversation. And Bill, tell us about tonight's choice, a little 90s ska flavor tonight. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this was a band that was, I guess, kind of active in the mid to late 90s, probably more towards the late 90s. They're called The Articles. And at least two of the members were PCP students, and there might have been more. But they had guys from all over the Metro Detroit area. And it was a ska band, but it was like a ska band unlike their ska counterparts at the time. I mean, because at that time, ska was kind of punk influenced on some levels, and it had the horns, and it was a lot of fun. Well, these guys were more jazz influenced, so they were more likely to name check Charlie Parker than they were to name check the Specials.
Yeah.
And so they created some amazing music. And matter of fact, one of the members was a WSDP student, 88.1 student, and when I started here in 91, he was hosting the metal show. Like growl type death metal.
Yeah.
And then by the mid to late 90s, he was also getting into ska and jazz and all kinds of other things. And we played this album a lot on the airwaves. We almost did a concert with them here too. And I don't remember, it might have been weather, but there was some reason that the concert fell apart. It was going to be a dance, and it unfortunately fell apart because I would have loved to have seen them live.
That mid to late 90s phase, which is when I was a student here and part of the music scene that was going on then, it was unbelievably eclectic. You know, it's always interesting to talk to artists like Abby mentioned tonight. You know, she's into a lot of different music, but during that time, it wouldn't be uncommon to have someone host the metal show and then be very much into a band with horns that's jazz influenced. But the whole ska thing, if you remember, I mean, it really became sort of a sensation.
It did. Ska bands were popping up. It was like the cool indie thing to do. Grab some horns, grab the kids out of the music program, and try to do ska. And I remember one dance we did, we had the Parka Kings play.
Yeah.
And I remember then Principal Jerry Ostein was really grooving the Parka Kings because he was a jazz fan and he loved the horns. He thought it was the coolest thing.
And he was a percussionist himself.
Yeah.
Right?
So he was watching the drummer and really getting into it.
The ska thing seemed to touch all listeners. I remember that punk kids could be into ska because it was up-tempo. Musicians could be into ska because of the horns and because of the elements of that. And jazzers could be into it. And rock, musicians like me, I mean, I thought the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones were really good because they were sort of heavy. They kind of had this like big beat.
Yeah, you had the Suicide Machines, another Michigan band that really blew up. And and you had scenes like different states and different cities that had really big ska scenes. And so, it was great to see the Articles.
Well, the great thing about the Scene Rewind is it allows us to get in our little time machine and travel back. So let's get in our time machine, Bill, and travel back to the late 90s. Here are two songs from the Articles on the Scene Rewind on 88.1 The Park.
Let me know when you're ready.
The Articles on the Scene Rewind here on 88.1 The Park. We heard Dragonfly, the first track, and then Scrapple from the Apple, Charlie Parker cover. There for the second track. Joe Jankowski, you're getting your air drum on over there.
This is awesome. This is really cool.
What do you think of the Articles?
Yeah.
Digging it?
Yeah, it's like they kind of remind me of a band I know called Snarky Puppy, and they're going to be at the Hill Auditorium on the 16th. It's instrumental with like brass instruments and woodwinds or saxophones, more like it, and I think that's really cool. And ska is fun. Reggae's fun. I like reggae more than ska, but that was definitely really cool.
I'm in agreement with you on that. Abby, what do you think?
I really liked it. It was really upbeat and fun. And, as an artist, I use words to portray my story, and I have an appreciation for people who can do it without words. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about it. When instrumental music can tell a story, that's a good thing.
Yes,
they're doing
definitely.
something right. Speaking of telling a story, let's hear another story from you guys with another in-studio performance here. I think the song we're going to hear is Another World. So, Joe, take your place with your foot tambourine and your hand drum.
Oh, I mean, in the hallway. I'm going to try something. Okay, never mind.
So we'll hear the song, and then Abby, we definitely want to hear more about your album that you're working on and your capstone project. So here is Joe Jankowski and Abby Sexton with Another World. Take it away.
Please don't get too close, for my mind can't seem to focus when you're around. Please don't get too lost out there in this world, searching for something you already found. Please don't go too far. Something about you just seems to feel like home. Please look to the stars if you ever need to feel a little less alone. Another place, another time, another world where maybe I could call you mine. Why must you go? Is it something I said? Something that I wrote? Why must you always say the right things at the worst time? Why do you think it's okay? Ask me if you think I should go or if you should stay. We both know my answer, baby. You know I never wish you away. Another place, another time, another world where maybe I could call you mine. Another place, another time, another world where maybe I could call you mine.
Another World with Abby Sexton and Joe Jankowski here on the scene on 88.1 The Park. Terrific job, you guys. It has been so much fun having you here tonight. I know that, Abby, your album it's in the works,
Yes.
and you have a deadline to meet because it's a capstone
Yes,
project.
I do have
so
a deadline to meet.
we'll have to get together and talk about that
Yes.
as your faculty advisor. We'll make sure you meet your deadline. But the album is something that I think a lot of people will be excited about, and it should be done sometime in the spring.
Yes, or mid to early April. So
Fantastic. And we'll make sure to let all of our listeners know where it's at and how to find it.
thank you.
And then we're hoping to see both of you at our In the Band Showcase show. Joe, I know you'll be there. You're playing drums with Cup
Yeah, absolutely.
and probably 100 other bands knowing you.
Hopefully not.
And
Cup's
Abby,
fine.
hopefully we can get you on the bill as well. I think
hope
it'd be
so.
really cool to have you guys perform at that night as well. So that'll be April 14th at the Plymouth Arts and Recreation Complex. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
And shout out to Ian McKinney and Reese Gabriel, who are the other members of the band. And it would be really crammed if they were here. But
Yes, we would be nowhere
Excellent.
without them. We got some slide guitar.
Ian plays bass and Reese plays guitar.
So if you're able to join for the show, then I would assume we'll get the whole.
Yes.
Oh,
stand.
definitely.
Yeah,
They're,
cool. All right.
Yeah, they're definitely part of the package.
Excellent.
We miss them.
Excellent. Sounds good. Speaking of which, our next edition of The Scene, which will be our official March show, even though it's March today, will be coming in the last week of March. That evening, we will have the band Michigan Left be joining us in
Yeah.
studio, and we're going to start our final 2 songs here with a song. Joe, they're good, aren't they?
Yeah, he's awesome. And I buy their band's t-shirt. It's really cool. Actually, I paid for it. I don't have it, Josh. But it's really cool.
The
And
shirt looks like it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, no, it is
Agreed.
awesome. They're definitely really great guys.
They're a great band, and they're going to be performing on April 14th as well. So we're going to hear Creature of Habit, and then we're going to close with the previously mentioned Hayden Kuzmano, who I think is inspiration to all of us. I
Oh,
mean, I
yes.
think
He's my guitarist for everything.
it's fantastic.
He's
and Reese
incredibly
Gabriel.
talented.
And he's created this just amazing, extraordinary piece of music called A Lackadaisical Attitude that's going to play us out tonight. So, Joe and Abby, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank
and
you.
we will play ourselves out here with Michigan Left, Creature of Habit, and Hayden Kuzmano, A Lackadaisical Attitude. Tune in at the end of the month of March for our March edition of The Scene with Michigan Left. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We'll hear from you soon here on The Scene on 881 The Park.
Heritage Park to Kellogg Park to Hines Park. This is the new 88.1 The Park.